of crazy things coming out of this restarted race with the red flag, etc., etc. But we can tell you, there's McConaughey and Jones at the head of the order, the rest of the top 10 when they crossed the line for the first time. And certainly McConaughey just about ahead of Jones as they came through the bomb hole. Through Caterham they go for the first time of asking. Slightly reduced 25-minute distance for this second attempt at the race. Looks like everyone's been a little bit more sensible on this first lap. In third place there is Stephen Lyle. So Stephen Lyle's got up to third from fifth on the grid. And then it's the unmissable, for better or worse, number 38 car of Wes Payne.
Very nice body.
Who's rather pearlescent livery is always one that stands out. He's in fourth position. The 43 car is in fifth. That is Alan Curtis. Curtis was again demoted quite substantially off the front row of the grid. He's down to fifth place, ahead of the 55 of Harry Eyre in sixth. In seventh, we have Demetrius Melas. He's in seventh place, as I said. The 71 car of Oliver Smith would have been 12th on the grid, is up to 8th already, so good result for him. The 56 of David Morgan is in 9th, and Chris Ephraimidis in the number 27 rounds out our top 10. At least that was the case when they crossed the line. No doubt that it's all changed by the time they get to Oggies, although it does look fairly similar to what I just read out as they run through towards Williams and out onto the Bentley Straight. As I said, it does look as though they might be watching their P's and Q's a fraction more, having faced a few minutes cut off their race. But let's see how long it takes these top two drivers to remember that they are not just in a fight in the race, they are also in a fight in the championship. Certainly McConaughey still being a static like a two-car breakaway ahead of each other. Really hasn't happened. Lyle Payne going up quite significantly on the top two. Now Stephen Lyle, he is fourth in the points, 157.
Yeah, that car there.
And is some 58 points back from points leader Blair McConaughey.
I'm guessing it was caught up at the
And
first restart.
that might be a bridge too far, so perhaps he feels he doesn't have much to lose. Wes Payne, on the other hand, is sixth in the points on 152, so he will equally think to himself, well, probably not going to win the championship, so let's try and get some podiums out of the rest of this season. It was side by side for the leaders. They went through Ritchie's, but I think the order remained the same with Blair McConaughey in the lead. Alan Curtis is there in fifth place still. He's having to play defensive with Harry Eyre behind him. I think Harry Eyre's start was rather stymied by Alan Curtis's. Harry Eyre was on the second row of the grid behind Curtis, and I think both of them fell a couple of places in the first lap. To the inside line goes our second place man. Is he now our leader? Yes, he is. Carl Jones really didn't give Blair McConaughey any space at all there. He said, nope, I'm going to take the inside line. That means you can't turn in. Thankfully, Blair McConaughey just realised at the 11th hour that the apex was no longer free and cost himself a little bit of time avoiding the contact, and that's put him down to third place, just ahead of Wes Payne. Carl Jones, meanwhile, has Stephen Lyle for company. It's now Lyle all over the back of Jones. I dare suggest the order may have switched by the time we see them back through. Here they come, up to Brundle and Nelson. Four cars in the lead scrap, but which one is leading them? Looks like Lyle to me. Stephen Lyle, I think, has got past Carl Jones, so it's Lyle from Jones. McConaughey from Payne, I believe. Payne in fourth place, and he's gone wide there. Has he had a spin? Oh, he was very close though. ran right to the outer edge of Caterham by the looks of it. I think he had a bit of opposite lock going there. Slipstreaming down the main straight, it's side by side down the main straight. And it looks as though it's a nose ahead for Carl Jones, but he doesn't get to Ritchie's first. Stephen Lyle just about holds on to the lead for the time being. Some more side-by-side action further back, but Lyle has been involved in a few skirmishes this year, almost got a win at Brands Hatch, but ended up in the gravel at Paddock Hill Bend. He's certainly an audacious driver, very ambitious as well. I think back at Brands Hatch he was wearing the yellow cross, the novice cross. I don't think that's the case anymore now. It's side by side with Carl Jones, and Jones takes the inside line at Agostini, takes the lead at Agostini for good measure. So those two scrapping with Blair McConaughey watching on in third place. And arguably, McConaughey will be a lot more worried about Jones than Lyle, because Jones is the championship competition. Lyle in fourth place is a little ways back in the point standings at this stage. The top four run down the Bentley Straight once again. Under the bridge towards Nelson. The Brundle curve that precedes it. Back of Jones as they run through the bomb hole. Started on pole position. The mirrors as well, because right there in fourth place, eager to make up further positions, is no longer Wes Payne. I think that might be Harry Eyre, but we'll have to see as they come across the line. It's an 8-car scrap now. In fact, no, sorry, 7 cars. I'm ever so slightly exaggerating as they come across the line. And yes, indeed, it is Harry Eyre that's managed to get himself up into fourth place ahead of Wes Payne. So Harry Eyre has come along and brought some friends. He's up to fourth place and is now looking for a way past Blair McConaughey. The top 7, all as one practically through the Wilson hairpin for the 5th time. Yes, the 5th time. We're already 10 minutes into this race, and it's side by side, I believe, between Lyle and Jones for the lead, the 5 and the 11. As they go into Palmer, and as they come out of Palmer, it's still side by side. Great driving, and I think Harry Eyre is up to 3rd place. He's got past Blair McConaughey, and Jones is through into the lead. Wes Payne up the inside of a couple as well. Wes Payne is up to 3rd place and challenging Stephen Lyle for 2nd. So it's all change, almost corner to corner at this stage in the race. It's Carl Jones that leads them through Oggies, ahead of Lyle, ahead of Payne. Now I believe it's still Harry Eyre in 4th. And in 5th or 6th place, I'm not quite able to distinguish the two, Blair McConaughey, who is certainly well out of the podium contention for the time being, but of course we know how fluid that is when you've got 7 Caterhams fighting for that podium. Here they come towards Brundle Nelson, and they're fanning out all over the place, trying to find some real estate, trying to find some speed carrying through Brundle and Nelson. Looks to me as though it's still Jones at the head of the order. It's probably a mystery from there onwards, side by side, through the bomb hole. That's gone through into 2nd place. We'll have to confirm when they're a bit closer to my line of sight here at Murray's, but I think Blair McConaughey may have got himself back up into 2nd place, which, given he was outside of the podium places when they came out of Williams onto the Bentley Straight, is a very good feat. Of course, the slipstream helps them immensely, and it is Blair McConaughey in the 34 car. I think Blair owned every position in the top 5 at some point on that lap, and he now owns the race lead once again, because he got to the inside of Carl Jones at Ritchie's. McConaughey, our pole sitter, is back into the lead of the race, although with Carl Jones, his championship rival, right behind him. Who knows how civil or otherwise things are about to get. Stephen Lyle is still there in third place as they head toward Palmer, out of the corner already and onwards to Agostini. And it is McConaughey from Jones, from Lyle, and then I believe it's Harrier in fourth place. They fan out once again in the braking zone for Agostini, all looking for a way through. Jones just about staves off the advances of Stephen Lyle. And in fourth place it does appear to be Harrier from Wes Payne. And then it's the 43 of Alan Curtis being pursued by the 71, which is, just trying to find him, Oliver Smith, who started in 12th place, so he's had a good run of it, in amongst the lead battle from 12th on the grid. Leading cars head down to Brundle and Nelson once again. Space, yes they do. Blair McConaughey finds himself still in the lead. Stephen Lyle finds himself up to second place. I think he was quite bold there. I think I saw Stephen go all the way over the rumble on the CCTV footage. Stephen Lyle blessed with bravery and all the things that come with it. Carl Jones is demoted to third place. He won't thank Stephen Lyle for that. That has an effect on his championship chances, of course. And now Lyle is in the tow of Blair McConaughey. I said that Stephen Lyle would only be worried about trying to get podiums and race wins. Well, certainly he's side by side with the leader as they go through Ritchie's. They're still side by side as they approach the apex. I think Lyle is just a nose ahead, but we'll have to see what order they're in by the time they come through Wilson. Are they both still there? Yes, they are, and Lyle going the long way around the Wilson hairpin. He's got the inside line now, surely, for Palmer. In fact, he got really good drive off of Wilson and just about moved into the lead ahead of Palmer. Great driving to go all the way around the outside of Ritchie's and Palmer there, but McConaughey's coming right back at him as they approach Agostini. Agostini is a great overtaking opportunity, as Blair McConaughey can attest, up the inside and back into the lead. Well, it was hard fought for Stephen Lyle, but it wasn't particularly long-lasting, was it? Harrier is there in third place, and Carl Jones has fallen down to fourth position. So Jones is really starting to leak places here. He could do with at least a podium finish. He doesn't want to see the gap between himself and Blair McConaughey extend particularly. Granted, it's only 3 points between them at the moment in McConaughey's favour. And granted, they still have Cadwell Park to come on their calendar, but still, you don't want to give an inch in a title battle this close. And unfortunately, at the moment, Carl Jones has given a fair few feet, but it's side by side for the lead. I think that might be Stephen Lyle once again on the offensive. And they come out of Nelson. It definitely looked like Lyle in the lead to me. We're in the bomb hole and onwards to Forum they go. Stephen Lyle leads it, Blair McConaughey. Harrier pressuring into third place. McConaughey, opponent in the mirrors. Harrier, who started in fourth but didn't have the best of starts. Stefano Mara just in the pit lane. Thankfully didn't rejoin the circuit at that moment because the top six were all running line astern. Now it was the top seven, so who are we missing? Wes Payne is the answer. Wes Payne is in pit lane. Wes did look like he was starting to fall back a little bit. He's got a slightly skew whiff 7 on his front nose, among other things, so maybe a compilation of minor damage causing him to come into the pits. We'll have to see. McConaughey is going for the inside line at Palmer, meanwhile, for the lead of the race. I believe that's up against Stephen Lyle. They're side by side as they skate over the oil and the cement dust that's still down there from earlier on. McConaughey is through, but also coming by is Harrier. If Harrier gets that stopped, he's in the lead, but I don't think he did. No, he didn't. He went extremely wide through Agostini. McConaughey's into the lead, and Stephen Lyle is still in second place. It was a bold move from Harrier, but unfortunately his brakes just weren't big enough to pull that one off. Stephen Lyle will, of course, be in a great position to go straight back past McConaughey on the Bentley straight. I'm sure the order will be jumbled up once again once they come into our line of sight at Brundle and Nelson. They're coming down the Bentley straight now. We'll see them back into our line of sight in a moment, as will those of you on the spectator bank at Brundle and Nelson. Yes, so Lyle just ahead of McConaughey goes defensive immediately. Leads them through the bomb hole. Back into our direct line of sight. That's Forum. Lyle from McConaughey. Going out wide there is Carl Jones, trying to get his way back into fourth place. He's having to fight to just stay in the top five at this point. It's Carl Jones, who started third, was second by the first corner, but has since then had a bit of a scrappy race, let's say.